So in today's video, we are going to be talking about the out of control inequality that we are now experiencing within the economy. And it's not now that we are experiencing it. This is something that's actually been taking place for many years. I mean, if not really since the beginning of time, there has been a separation between the rich and the poor that takes place anytime you inject new money into the system. The only problem with this is that most people don't recognize what is truly happening out there because it's such a slow pace of change that actually happens that most people look at it as a political environment or some kind of banking or social reasoning or excuse to why it is that there's this major separation that has now taken place within the economy, within the people. And it's not really now. Like I keep saying now because most people are recognizing it as a major problem. Not that it wasn't a major problem before, but now it's to the point that people are like, hey, I got a good job and I still can't make it, and they don't know why. And that's really what it comes down to, is not understanding what it is that's taken place from the underlying economic forces. Because the moment that somebody says, how is it that you're supposed to make it nowadays? I don't know how to answer that question. I don't think that there's a political, environment or idea or construction capability of a possibility. I don't know how you want to fabricate the idea. I just don't think that that's possible. Like, that's not their job. I mean, although we probably would say that it's their job, I don't think it's their job. I think our job is to understand what it is that's taking place so we can position ourselves for it. But most people don't want to change what it is that they understand or how it is that they are feeling or understanding what it is that's taken place. Instead, they want to be locked in on their belief system and then change the external, which is saying, hey, it's somebody else's problem out there to fix so that I have a better way of life. So the moment that somebody even says, how is it that they're supposed to make it, or how is it that somebody is supposed to make it, they have already defeated themselves, because really there's nobody that's coming to make it any different than what it is that you're experiencing today, unless you change what it is that you are thinking, feeling, and behaving with. So the major inequality that we are now facing, which is really scary for a lot of people out there, can really be dealt with if you understand why it's occurring, like why it is that we are having this major issue that is now happening where a good job isn't enough to cut it. And if you just simply to say, well, it's easy enough, the powers that be want you to suffer in pain and misery and not have anything in your life, and they will take everything from you. Okay, well, you can take that sort of belief, and there's actually plenty of evidence out there. I know I used to live that way and think that way for a very long time, but then I changed the way that I was thinking and feeling about what it was that was happening out there, and found that I could actually position myself to be in not only in the flow of money from income, from trying to figure out many different sources or avenues of being able to acquire some sort of money in my life, but then also cut way back on my expenses, and then found that, yeah, you can achieve a idea of an American dream, but it's not the American dream that you were hoping for. It's an American dream of an idea, like the house, the kids, wife, car, vacations, all that other stuff. Like, that part is still achievable. The only difference is that the regular 9-to-5 job will never ever cut it again. That needs to be accepted. It will never ever happen again. And so now, understanding that if you do have a day job, and thinking and hoping and praying that there will be somebody who is going to come into office or create an environment that is going to say, hey man, your working steady job that you have will be plenty, it will never come. It will never ever come again. There was a time in this country that existed, and you can go and blame all the politics and greedy corporations, greedy bankers, or something of that nature, or you can go and read Cantillon's essay on economic theory, where he describes in detail exactly what it is that's taken place between the rich and the poor when new money comes in. I mean, he straight up says it. There are a group of people out there who will postpone buying stuff, consuming, increasing their standard of living, however you want to describe it. They will postpone that expenditure going out there from their increased income. They will postpone that so that they can deploy that money into something that is going to have a return of interest that is secure beyond their occupation. Cantillon described that hundreds of years ago. Think about that. There's people out there who are positioning themselves to take full advantage of the things that are happening right now within this economy. Then there's people out there who are taking out debt to buy a luxurious experience and literally putting themselves into debt slavery. This is what is the major driver of the wedge, is people's behavior with the debt. That's the new money. People have to understand it. Debt is the new money. If you have access to the debt, you have access to new money. What you do with that debt will then determine where it is you're going to be in relation to the wedge. Are you going to be on the top side of it, or are you going to be on the bottom side of it? Most people, consumers, 80% of the people out there, the bottom 80% of household incomes, when they take out debt, that's exactly what they do with it, is they put themselves in a position in which that they are now debt slaves. Then you have a great group of people out there who are much smaller, who people say are greedy individuals who have borrowed money and then bought cash flowing assets with it, like rental properties. Then they get a return beyond that of the debt interest payment that has a secure rate of interest beyond that of their occupation. Like, understanding that right there is the major reason why we have such major inequality. The access to the debt and what it is that people do with it. That's the new money. See, it was a day, like, let's set that aside for just a second, because people are going to disagree with that and say, oh no, bullshit, it's all about corporate greed and stupid politics. Okay, great. Let's set that aside for just a second, and let's look back to when we were a manufacturing powerhouse. When your daily job, when your average job, manufacturing the world's greatest stuff and sending that stuff out there to the world, and the world sent you their money, think about that being the new money coming in and who has access to it. If you are a manufacturer, even if you're working at a factory job, you are producing stuff that is being sent out there to the world, and the world is sending you their money. You are now within very close access to the new money, even though it might go to the corporation and to, the management, and then eventually to the employee. Being a manufacturer of a product that is being distributed to the world is putting you very close to new money. May not be right in line, it may not be first access, but it's very close. And being very close to the new money then gives you a buying power unlike anybody else would have out there if they didn't have access to that new money or was not positioned very close to it. If you are in that position, you are going to increase your standard of living. You're going to buy better clothing, nicer house, better car, eat better food. You're going to do all the things that happens when you increase your standard of living. That is what would take place if you had access to new money because you were a manufacturing powerhouse. That is super important to internalize, because most people don't have access to new money like that. The new money is coming from the debt issuance. So if you have access to the new debt, and you take out that debt and you buy cash flowing assets, you will be in a position on the other side of the wedge. Now, whether or not that plays out to be a benefit to you, like the asset falls in price, housing market crash, or something of that nature, yes, you could find yourself being removed from the top side of the wedge just like that, if you have leveraged yourself up there. This is the problem. This is where most people are now losing it with their ability to understand why it is that they're on the bottom side of the wedge, is because they have this mentality that says, man, I work hard, I produce, I do things in the concept of being disciplined, being, in in awareness of that I'm going to keep my expenses low and that I'm going to increase my income as much as possible, and still not able to make it because they are relying on that day job, right? They're like, man, if I work harder at my day job, if I get a promotion, if I get, into that management position, what they are not realizing is that they are only going to get so much money from that job. They can only put in so many hours. The salary is only going to go to so much, and then they're limited. You have to find something where you are limitless. You have to be limitless in every way. Like, if you feel in any way that you are limited, you will not put the effort in. You will not put out what it is that you need to do in order to acquire the most abundance in your life. You will feel the limitations and you will act accordingly to that limitation. The moment that you're out of that feeling, the moment that you think, man, I got business opportunities, I got a network I can build, I got all the stuff that I need in my life beyond my 9-to-5 job in order to secure an income. Once you start looking at it that way, you start feeling limitless. Even though you may not have everything in the world, the fancy cars and the fancy houses and a big giant bank account or all the cash flowing assets, but if you are moving in that position, you feel like as if it's going to happen soon, like as if you already got it. Being in that sort of mindset, being in that sort of state of being, of feelings, of acquiring, none of the limited things out there like, oh, the government's holding you down, or man, there's this corporate greed, all that other stuff, that all fades away. It's just like, yeah, that's not a problem. That's not a problem for me. I'm limitless. I'm on my way. Okay? And so this is really where I think, again, like most of the time when you hear somebody of this statement that says, how is anybody supposed to make it nowadays? You're relying on somebody else to do something. How are you supposed to make it these days? You're supposed to understand and internalize the information for yourself, recognize that there are people out there who are killing it today, and then position yourself accordingly for that based on the skills and ideas that you have. Right? I mean, because I don't know what it is you're going to do to change the government or the banking system or anything like that. Like, I don't get it. But I do understand how that separation has taken place due to the new money. It's new money every single time. New money is what creates the inequality. And I don't care what you do with it. If you hand it to the poor, you hand it to the rich, you hand it to the middle class, you hand it to anybody, it doesn't matter what happens with the new money. If you inject it into the system, it will automatically go to the top, and it will cause separation between the rich and the poor. Every time. Very little doubt in my mind. Right? Because history has proven that to be the case. So when I think about what it is that the government is supposed to do, or how is it that anybody is supposed to make it, or anything like that, I think to myself, I abandon the idea of an external problem and turn it into myself and say, I have a problem that I need to deal with out there, and I need to observe what it is that's taken place so that I can position myself accordingly for it. Because I know that if I position myself and say, okay, now I got a good job, and what I'm going to do is now try and create a understanding of a political environment that would then be conducive to my decision of where it is that I have placed myself. So let's get everybody out there to vote the right way. Good luck. Good luck with that, man. I am not on board, right? I mean, like, hey, I'll listen to your idea on who you should vote for, but if you think that we can change the way that the political environment, the banking system is, the economy is, so that you and your appropriate decisions for what it is that you feel has taken place can be appropriate instead of changing what it is you're doing to fit the current condition, I don't know what it is you're going to do. Like, you're not going to change the external, ever. Right? And so how is it you're supposed to make it? You figure it out for yourself. That's what you're supposed to do. You abandon the idea that there is going to be a better environment that somebody can produce for me. Instead, what you do is you look out there and say, man, how is it that I cut back on my expenses, increase my income, and then position myself to have a secure rate of interest beyond my occupation? Right? Like, that's, I don't know, it's like step 1, 2, 3. Okay? Step 1, get secure income. Step 2, live as cheap as possible. Step 3, get cash flowing assets. That's it. If you don't do those 3 things, you're going to be left behind. Right? I mean, some people will get really creative. Like, they don't have to go get a 9-to-5 job. They can fire off businesses every single day. They know exactly how to step right into flow. Those people, they're killing it right now. They don't think about the limitations. They don't think about how it is that government's holding them back. They don't have any of those beliefs or concepts going on out there. They're out there just going for it. As far as their expenses, I would imagine that most people who are out there really killing it in business and investments and doing all that, they're probably pretty cautious on where it is they're spending their money, because it takes money to make money, and they're not going to just blow their money on stupid items. Right? Cash flowing assets. If you don't have them, how are you supposed to get the other money? How are you supposed to get extra money? How are you supposed to get the money beyond the money you already make and in order to compete against people who are working for extra money? How are you going to do that? If you don't want to put in extra time, extra hours, extra business opportunities, well, you better cut back on your expenses and take your extra money that you have from your paycheck and put it into cash flowing assets of some sort. Rental properties, dividend paying stocks, some kind of business that you don't maybe have to work, but partner up with somebody else and you can be the money man part of it. But you have to figure that part out. You have to be in a position that you're going to secure some sort of income beyond your occupation. If you don't do that, you're going to fail. I mean, I'm not going to say you're going to fail. You might make it. How do I know? I failed without doing that. I was failing miserably when I wasn't doing that. The moment that I decided that I'm going to start moving into positions in which that I can make money beyond my day job, beyond my side hustles, beyond the online sales, beyond the YouTube channel, beyond all that stuff, get 8 different forms of flow, right? 8 different forms, channels of revenue that you can get in from different directions that you can work on every single day. Try to put a little bit of effort towards those 8 different forms of income. And you're going to tell me that you're not going to do well in that sort of environment? Just saying. I mean, you got 8 different forms of revenue that you can work on every single day. Put a little bit of effort towards your YouTube channel. Put a little bit of effort towards your online internet store, whatever it is you're building up. Put a little bit of effort towards your business. Put a lot of effort towards your day job because it takes so much damn time. But you do that every single day and you think about it that way, and you don't think about the limitations, but you think about nothing but abundance out there and all the different places that you could possibly go to in order to create 8 different channels of revenue. You tell me you do something like that, how much complaining are you going to be doing about how hard it is to make it out there when you're doing that? You know, the only people who really complain about how hard it is to make it out there are people who aren't doing that. They're the people who are working their 9-to-5 jobs, scratching their head, wondering why it's so difficult to make it out there, while other people are recognizing that the underlying economic forces that are separating the rich and the poor are too obvious to stand by and wait for things to change. You have to compete against it. You have to move against that and believe that it is actually taking place in a way that there's nothing that anybody can do about it. Because the moment that you feel that there's something that somebody can do about it, then you won't change the way you're feeling or behaving or thinking. You will then rely on the idea that somebody can come in and fix the problem. All right. What time is it? This was fun, guys. I just kind of ranted on for a little while. I hope you enjoyed it. We got 253 people watching with 54 likes. Thank you so much for hitting that like button. By hitting that like button, not only do you tell me that this is a good video, but you also encourage the YouTube algorithm to pick up the video and spread it around for more people to enjoy. So thank you so much for all the support. All righty. All right, Simon just said the mere fact that we here means that we are unsuccessful life. Well, deplorable, you gave that meaning, right? That was you who just gave that meaning to this information. And so now what you have done is you have literally turned the information into a negative that you are now going to carry with you, that is going to deprive you from the ability to search out for the abundance, because that's the meaning that you have given it. And then on top of it, you have created a power pendulum that you want other people to join in on so that they also have the same failing mindset that says, I'm limited and Simon is proving that to me. So go for it, bro. I mean, this is exactly what I am trying to share on what it is that you need to do in order to take this information and give it something of meaning that is going to actually benefit you. When somebody like Deplorable says, hey man, look, Simon's calling you a worthless loser, and this is the meaning that you have given the information, what is it that you're going to do when you walk around all day thinking about this video? You are going to use it to deprive yourself from the ability to acquire the abundance. Right? You can't get abundance if you feel that you are a loser, if you feel that you are that way. And if you think that this information is doing that to you, then that's exactly what it's going to do. Right? That's not on me. That's on you. Right? That's not on me. That's entirely on you. All right. Rest in peace, Hulk Hogan. So thankful Iron Sheik not deported. Yeah, good old Hulk Hogan, man. Entertainer. All all that like show and excitement and everything that came from it, man. Like, a lot of you guys know that I love entertaining. Like, if I ever had it in my life that I would want to do something, like, I would think acting would be like the thing. Like, to me, that would be so enjoyable, and I would love to do live performances, like theater kind of stuff. To me, that, like, I can't think of anything that I would enjoy more than to be able to constantly have people step away from their life so that they can enjoy a show or some sort of, you know, I don't know how to quite describe it. When you are in that position of entertaining and you really are in tune with the audience and everything is going well, it's like its own world. It's like its own experience. And to be able to do that, to share that with people, and then be able to have them step out of their life for just a minute so that they can enjoy that experience, I can't think of anything better. Like, to me, that's just so awesome. And I know for a lot of people, they'd be scratching their head going, dude, that doesn't seem cool to me at all. And I get it. Like, to each their own. To me, I can't think of anything that would be cooler for me to do. All right. Anyway, moving on. What time is it? I got a few more minutes here, and then I got to quit. All right. I am a real American. Fight for the rights of every man. That's kind of interesting, to be a real American fighting for the rights of every man when the government itself has absolutely zero consideration for the average man. They have no consideration for your constitutional rights or freedom-loving people who are the true Americans who care about other Americans. Is you actually step up for other people's rights and you let people know. It's just like, no, that's not right. I don't agree with that person, but what you are doing is infringing on their rights, and I'm going to step up and say, no, you can't do that. Nobody does that for each other, right? Nobody does that for each other. That's being a real American. Not going up and saying, hey man, I'm going to show dedicated pride to this government with regardless of what it is that's happening out there. Right? Be a prideful American and support our government. It's just like, no, hell no. Hell no. Man, if they had any support or belief in me, then maybe I would. But since they don't have one care about my constitutional rights or even behaving within the confines of the Constitution, I don't know what it is that I'm supposed to be supporting and be proud of. Like, corporate America? Is that what we're supposed? That's like our government, right? We're like ultimately a fascist government now. I mean, I try to hold on and retain some of my beliefs inside of the Constitution and try to hold our government officials within the confines of the Constitution. But what am I supposed to do? I'm only one person. I can only protect my rights at the time that I see them being infringed. I can't do anything else. That's the only thing I can do. That's my only job as an American is to protect my own rights. And then, say something when I see somebody else's rights getting, stepped on. But if I can't protect my own rights, then I don't have them. They don't exist for anybody. And since most people have no idea what their rights are, then they just don't exist here in the United States. How many people have committed themselves? Like, they've heard me say this so many times. I got to go here real soon. But they've heard me say this on this channel so many times, right? To go out there and learn the first 10 amendments to the Constitution, right? The Bill of Rights. And out of all those, the Fourth Amendment, you should cement that into your tongue. The rights of the people to be secure in the person's houses, papers, and effects from unreasonable searches and seizures shall not be violated, and no warrant shall issue but upon probable cause supported by oath or affirmation, particularly describing the places to be searched and the places to be searched and the persons and things to be seized. Show me the warrant. And as my buddy All Nighter says, show me the signed warrant, because they can go get a warrant, but just because they got a warrant doesn't mean it was signed by a judge. Show me the signed warrant. Other than that, this is not consensual. This is not a conversation I want to have. This is not anything that I'm going to participate in, because I have a right, and not only do I have a right, but I have the responsibility and the duty to protect my freedom. And part of that is security. And that's up to me. There's nobody else who can do that. There's nobody, literally nobody else. It's you at the time that they're being infringed that you have to do that. Nobody knows how. Nobody wants to. I mean, there's a handful of people. You see them on the internet and they always do the, do some sort of, constitutional freedom audit or with the police or whatever. But that's not what I'm talking about. I'm talking about conducting yourself that way regardless if there's a cop there. I'm talking when the sign says you can't walk, you wait till you can. And the person says, why don't you just jaywalk? And it was just like, nah, I'm never going to conduct myself in a reason that would have any authority coming to me and saying, hey, I'm going to stop and identify you. No, you're not going to get that privilege from me. I'm going to conduct myself in a way that you don't get to talk to me. And if you do come and talk to me, it's going to be by my choice whether or not I continue to have the conversation. Because I hold the highest authority of anybody here. I'm it. That's it. There's nobody else. Most people have no idea that they hold that sort of authority over the government. They are under the watchful eye of the government. They're under, I'm scared of the government. The government's going to come down on you. Well, that's right. They are going to come down on you because you have given it that meaning. I don't live that way and I don't have that sort of belief. There's a huge difference in the way that I think and the way that most Americans think. And I'm actually a constitutionalist. I actually believe in the Constitution. Every single person that has ever voted has voted unconstitutionally because they voted for a president who continues to operate within this lie of freedom. Right? It doesn't exist. The fact that we even have a central banking system goes directly against the Constitution. Article 1, Section 10 of the United States Constitution states, no state shall coin anything but gold and silver as a legal tender in payment of debt. How many states follow that? The fact that we even have a central bank goes directly against that. All this stuff that we have going on out there, it's as people say, it's a clown show. We need to do it. And I was just like, well, maybe if you behaved constitutionally, you didn't accept the fiat currency, you only used gold and silver, you didn't make, you had a choice. Chose not to. You chose to continue to say, yes, I will earn money in fiat currency and I will pay taxes in fiat currency. And the more you do that, the more power they get from it. And understanding there is nothing I can do to change anybody else out there to then position themselves to say, hey, we can make this government completely irrelevant in our lives. You want to do that with me? No, not a single person will do that. So how is it that I'm supposed to conduct myself knowing that we work in an unconstitutional government with unconstitutional currency, with nobody behaving with a constitutional freedom-loving belief as they walk down the streets? How is it that I'm supposed to conduct myself in this? Right? I see the problems that are out there and I don't expect anything to change. I don't expect a single person out there to memorize the Bill of Rights, to know the Fourth Amendment by heart, to then position themselves in a way that try and make government as completely irrelevant in their life as possible. I have no expectations of that happening from anybody. So what am I supposed to do? Right? I figure this stuff out for myself. And then I start to position myself in a way that I feel that I can put myself on the other side of the wedge because there's nothing I can do to change all the unconstitutional behavior that has taken place out there. I can't change it. I would love to. I would love to wave a magic wand and say, hey, you behave in the confines of the Constitution and you behave in the confines of the Constitution. They won't. Right? I've heard people who are in Congress say they don't care about the Constitution. Literally on film. Like saying those words. And I'm like, you're a congressman. You don't care about the Constitution? That's like your job. Is to care about the Constitution. Zero care. Right? So, no thanks. I mean, I don't know what it is. That's why that's why I feel that I am more of an anarchist than anything, because I don't agree with any of that stuff that's happening out there. What am I supposed to do about it? Nothing. There's nothing I can do. I can only conduct myself in the way that I feel is most appropriate for me, because nobody out there is doing it right. Right? And so people were like, no, you got to be good and you got to stick with it and you got to, be the proud American and, support the government and stuff. And I'm like, this government? This unconstitutional behaving fiat currency central bank using government, like I'm supposed to be proud of that somehow? I don't know. I mean, I guess to each their own. I don't know. Anyway, guys, I don't know why I ranted off on that. I hope you enjoyed it. We got 90 likes out of it, so thank you so much for being here. What else did I want to say? I don't know. That's it. Uneducated Economist. You guys let me know.